Welcome back to the shop. Today I'm going to be turning these small aspen logs into coasters. I love the look of wood coasters, and especially these. These are cool because they're aspen and they have this really unique white bark. But one problem is that these are wet. These were just cut down a couple months ago and they're still pretty wet on the inside. So I'm going to show you how to cut these into coasters and a quick way I've found to dry small wood projects. First, we have to measure out the thickness of the coaster. I like mine about 3/4 inch. With some drying and sanding, we could lose a little bit of that, so they may end up a little closer down to just above a 1/2 inch or so. But I think 3/4 inches just about perfect for what I'm trying to do with these. Each of these logs is just under a foot, so I'm going to take a Sharpie and just put a light mark here at 3/4 inch along this log. I don't want to make the mark too big because I want the miter saw to be able to cut it exactly on that mark and not leave any Sharpie or any marker left after the cut is done. So just a light mark. Okay, that one's done. I'll do the same thing with this one. And then we'll take it over to the miter saw and make these cuts. Cutting round stock on any type of blade, whether it's a miter saw like this or the table saw or the bandsaw, you have to be really careful because what can happen is as the blades catch, it can roll. And if your hand's in the way, that can be really dangerous. So you need some type of fence. And the miter saw works really well for this because the fence is built in. So what you really need to do is hold tremendous pressure on the round stock here, or better yet, use a clamp. So with this, because this wood is soft, I feel confident and comfortable that I can hold this while these cuts are happening. So this is our waste piece. So I'm going to get this cut off. Then I'm going to come down and cut on each of these dots to get our 3/4 inch pieces of coaster off of this log. As we get down to the end here, we have to be careful. There's less to hold on to, and we need to be safe. So this isn't going to be it for this one, but that's okay because we got 10 out of that so far, and we have a whole other log to go. Okay, we got 18 pieces out of those 2 logs, which I think is great. But the problem is they're wet, and I don't want to wait a year for these to dry. So I have a trick up my sleeve that I've used for other projects, and it works really well for this. Let me show you. This is a food dehydrator, and it works really well to get small wood projects like this dry. In about 24 hours, you can get this down to 1 or 2% relative moisture. It works well for wood bowls and things like that too, but the space is limited and these fit in there perfectly, so we're going to use it for this. This process is really simple. All you got to do is put these wood coasters on these trays. And I've found that if I set the temperature to about 100 and run it for 2 10-hour cycles, it gets the wood nice and dry. So we can fit, it looks like about 4 per tray, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to find a couple more trays here and get this thing loaded up. I got all those wood coasters in there. I had to put all the trays in. So I'm going to bring the temp down here to about 100. And then I'm going to set the time to, we'll do 16 hours. Go ahead and start that there. And 16 hours might do it for those, so I'll check them when they're done. Once these coasters are dry, I do a sanding, and then I do a food safe finish on it, like a butcher block. You probably don't need to do the food safe coating on it, but I just feel a little better about it whenever I do. You never know whose little hands these might get into, and it's just safer that way. These make for great decor in your home or as gifts for others. A little touch of outside inside your home. I hope you found this process interesting. I sell these and other species of these in my Etsy shop, and you can find that in the description of this video and on my channel. There's more videos to come, so subscribe so you don't miss those. Thank you very much for watching this project. See you next time.